This is Mongolian Mindset, and today we're going to be typing Dr. Mike. Okay. He has some pretty good content. I actually like watching his stuff. He is a doctor. Well, I don't know if he's still practicing. He might still be practicing. I think he's a family doctor or something like that.
Hmm.
He's got a pretty good like YouTube channel, everything like that. I really like him because the information I think he puts in is pretty good. I know some people says he's a little biased to the left with things like that, but for me, I'm always evaluating the information. Is the information good? Is the information clean? I don't really give a damn. I feel like everybody has, to a degree, some type of biases to something. People even those people who claim to be super objective, bro, you got some unconscious bias because that's just how we are as humans. So we'll be looking at Dr. Mike using Linda Barron's interaction styles and temperament combined with cognitive functions. And we did have Linda Barron's on the channel. Highly suggest you guys watch that video. We did pull the legend out. We did pull Linda Barron's out. Great interview. I'm glad she came on. So, guys, we do have a breakdown of all these metrics online. Just go to the playlist how to find anyone's personality type. And we do have the cognitive functions broken down one by one. And we do have a master's list. I really put a lot of times in breaking down those functions. So, I would recommend watching them. If you want to get through them pretty fast, just put it at like two times speed or something. But if you want more hands-on experience than that, you need to join our Discord and join our Demigod Dojo, okay? Where we have the books from the easiest to the more challenging material. And we do have our typists that will proctor you an exam. So you pass that, then you'll get a certain belt depending on your knowledge of type, okay? So highly recommend you get in there because that is going to make you way better, way faster. Okay. Zara, anything you want to say, man?
Yeah, he's still practicing family medicine, just to reiterate, and he's a physician and he's a famous YouTuber, and he debunks a lot of misinfo on the internet about medical claims, and he's does a good service for the medical community as a whole.
That's what I was saying, man. That's what I like because there's
I like
a
he's
lot
he
of
debunk.
bullshit. It's a lot of
Yeah, but
bullshit.
I don't. He may be. I mean, everyone's got political bias, but he's pretty objective with medicine. He's very objective, so
Yeah, yeah,
I don't I don't see an issue with the guy. I like him.
yeah, yeah.
He's
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, um,
he doesn't make a bunch of outrageous claims, and he gives you the facts.
oh
That's
God, don't get me started on Trump, bro. People could legitimately make a case for him being T child. I mean, I would actually listen to somebody say T child because Jesus Christ, he got up there with the Tylenol thing and was like, not good, not good. Tylenol, you don't want to take it, not good. And I'm like, bro, you got to break down the literature first of all. Is it one Tylenol, two Tylenol, 10 Tylenol? It has to be something, and it's most likely a prolonged use of Tylenol. And then on top of that, I guarantee you, you can't find several studies proving that. All right, you can't just
well,
the nearest data that
it
comes
said it
out.
was inconclusive of causality.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you cannot just jump on that. Like you have to look at several different studies.
Well, I mean, there's a difference. Like maybe you could advise people to not take it just because they have a headache, but
Mhm.
but if they're febrile, you have to, or the it will cause permanent damage to the baby.
Yeah, but people aren't
That's
gonna
just
think like that. They're gonna think, well, Trump said don't take Tylenol. It's like you
that. Well,
motherfucker.
yeah, that's
There's
just natural. That's just natural selection. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
like you stupid motherfucker. Like,
That's just natural selection. I have
nah,
no
man.
patience for this shit.
I mean,
Um,
I've never seen somebody so irresponsible.
yeah, you know what?
I have
He is.
never seen somebody so irresponsible in my life. Like, he goes to the Charlie Kirk thing, and the wife gets up there and says a amazing message, and I do mean an amazing message. And then he gets up there and says, "You know
I
what?
hate my opponents.
He said, I hate my enemies." Like, I'm like, bro, come on, bro. You are 80 something and you're a full grown child. That's sad. You're 80 years old. You're a full grown child.
He
So
has not matured beyond that.
it's crazy, man. You guys just caught our rant, man. And just let you motherfuckers know, I am a Republican. So put that in perspective. I do
Okay, and
fair,
also,
I do fair
yeah,
critiques. If you're stupid,
yeah,
if I think you're
oh
stupid, I'm
yeah.
gonna call you
So
out.
there's two things about him. One, he took it 16 personalities and got ESFJ, and number two, he doesn't believe in Myers-Briggs.
Who?
Dr. Mike. He actually
Okay.
had a video on it.
Okay. Okay. I was talking about Trump there, but uh
Yeah.
so
I just was showing that. But yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying about Trump. He's
the most
such
irresponsible
a
I've ever seen.
such a fucking idiot. I'm just gonna say it.
It couldn't even say acetaminophen. Like, bro,
Yeah, bro.
bro.
I
If
see
that
the
was
man.
me, I would have ran over that shit like 10 times, 100 times before I got to call a press conference, got my ass on national fucking television, and
He,
then you
I
want to say
swear,
that's
he.
correct,
You know
right?
what?
That's correct, bro. Don't even get me
Hey
started.
Mercer, I wonder if we gotta retype him. I swear, like
No,
there's something wrong.
he's just a retarded ENTJ, bro. He's just like,
Yeah, it probably is. It's just so bad. His
just
T is just shit.
But he's just
It's
a
dog.
child, bro. He's just a child. He's just a little child. Bro
He
doesn't
does.
understand that at all. But people
Yeah.
let him get away with it. That's the crazy part. People just let him get away with it. But we get back on Dr. Mike here. So guys, personality database has Dr. Mike as an ENFJ. Secondly, they have him as ESFJ. So I've already went on the board and colored in what an ENFJ is: direct, initiating, outcome, affiliative, motive, abstract, TIFE, and SENI. Okay. If he meets those metrics, we'll go ahead and call him an ENFJ. If he doesn't, we'll find his real personality type. As Zara said, he is taking a personality test and he got ESFJ. So we'll look at that one as well and see did person 16 personality type get his shit right. If not, we'll be on their ass because they suck too. But I'll give you a little short, quick rundown of all of these. So you got direct versus informing, right? Is this person more closed-ended statements? Is he more specific, concise to the point? Or is this person informing? Are they more open statements, beating around the bush, passive, playing more Blues Clues, very brief when they speak. When they say something, it's like, what the hell did they just say? Then you have initiating versus responding. I think the worst metric by far. But basically, people who are initiating have a front brain biases, right? The information travels right in the front and it comes right out pretty quick. So it's gonna be more the initiating people. Then you have the responding people who have the wiring to the back of the brain. So the information has to travel to the back of the brain. The responding people are gonna stick more to staying on the same subject and then diving deeper into that, while the initiating people might change the subject here and there. But be careful with this metric; it can get you fucked. Then we got process versus outcome. We got so I like to say journey focus versus end product. The people who are process oriented, they aren't. They may list out the steps they got, what the steps to achieve what they did. Basically highlighting the journey of everything, or they just are not interested or looking at the outcome, right? Um, and then you have the outcome types, and these guys are extremely focused on the outcome. Clear metrics will be said, okay? Clear outcomes, or they'll just skip over the process in general. Um, but they're definitely focused on the end product, right? Don't confuse that with NI. So we got affiliative versus pragmatic. Okay, is this person about cooperation as a whole for people in general? Are they interdependence? Or are they pragmatic, which is like utilitarian, ends justify the means, autonomy, that type of thing. Then we have systematic versus motive. Basically, do they just prescribe a structure to use or a system in everything they do, or are they like hinting towards that in a way, right? Is that the first thing they look at, or is it motive? Like, what do they stand to gain from something? Or like, what is the psychology of the person, like that type of thing, digging deep into that. Then you got concrete versus abstract. Are they about intangible things or tangible things? If they're talking about intangible things like philosophies, theories, then they're abstract, okay? If they're talking about the more concrete, mundane, everyday thing, the past or the present, that's more the concrete, okay? Do they believe in the what if or what is, okay? Pretty simple. Then we have TEFI, called this evaluating judging. TE is about empirical information, creating outside systems, books, that type of thing. And then FI is about what's important to you, remaining true to themselves. And then TIFE is about understanding. I call both of them understanding. One is understanding like solutions and problems, breaking them down from one principle to the next. And then FE is more about like harmony, all right, maintain the harmony outside, understanding where someone else is coming from, putting other people's needs above your own. Darian already calls it friendly hosting. I like that. Then you have SE and NI. SE is about living in the moment, experiencing things in the five senses. Um, their brain is going to be naturally scanning the environment, so they'll make claims about that. They're more other referencing when they talk, right? They're more about objective experiences, something that we all can claim together. Then you have NI, which is foreseeing, right? Envisioning what will happen, the next 5 steps. What will be, I think I said that, synthesizing. You'll see that a lot of times. A lot of times, NI people don't even know that they're synthesizing information, right? It can go unnoticed to them. And then you have SI, which is about like, referencing the past. A lot of times, some people will credit it to memory. Some people will credit it to homeostasis in the body. But generally speaking, it's about your subjective experience, something that we cannot verify, right? It's very obnoxious to deal with. But these people will be talking about that and you'll pick it up, right? They'll be talking from more of a first person perspective. And then you have any, which is all about connections, possibilities, brainstorming, all like basically about what could be, right?
The moment to myth bust and call out disinformation as it relates to healthcare. Let's get into that.
Okay.
Dr. Mike Varshavski,
He's the actively practicing medicine doctor with over 25 million followers.
who's created one of the largest health education platforms in the world.
Dr. Mike, what's the key to finding a diet that's going to stick?
There's two real things that you need to think about. One, calories in and calories out is true. Second, and this is important, you need to have
What about the prevailing narrative that if you want to lose weight, you've got to get on a running machine?
nutrition. That's where the majority of the change will come from.
What's the medical advantage if I go to the gym every day?
Literally everything else.
Is vaping dangerous?
Yes. And no one knows this, by the way. This is why I do what I do. But the more dangerous part of it is
What's your POV on supplements?
they will make you skip on doing things that are healthy for you, and supplements have side effects. You have too many of them, we notice that they... But no one talks about that because you can't really sell that.
And then, considering you care so much about your health, why would a doctor choose boxing?
Because I unfortunately lost my mom to cancer. To ask the doctors to stop doing chest compressions on your mom, that is not something that I wish on anyone. And I got into a very unhealthy mental state. So boxing chose me instead of me choosing boxing.
In the circumstances that you lost your mother, where she was given the all clear,
Yeah.
did that experience change your perspective of the medical industry in any way?
I didn't say, what did he say? Or what did she say? And I realized that the message wasn't hitting home. And I realized we need to do a better job as communicators in the healthcare space. And then I said, well, TV must be the answer. Media training must be the answer. And then as I became a practicing physician in my residency program, I started seeing...
All right, so that's progression.
Yeah.
Right off the rip, progression. Okay, guys, that is progression. I skipped right into that and just immediately knew.
And then as I became a practicing physician in my residency program, I started seeing people being influenced by those TV physicians in the wrong ways. They would be promising miracle solutions to any problem. They would be having snake oil being sold to them. They would think that they can skip out on taking their medications or going for treatments or making lifestyle changes because of a solution proposed to them for 3 easy payments of $19.99. And I said, oh man, not only are we not great communicators, but we're being out-edged by people who are trying to make a profit in this healthcare space. And I've
FE
Interests.
and FE.
Yeah, NFE. All right, that's definitely interest there, guys. Check that shit, buddies.
skip out on taking their medications or going for treatments or making lifestyle changes because of a solution proposed to them for 3 easy payments of $19.99. And I said, oh man, not only are we not great communicators, but we're being out-edged by people who are trying to make a profit in this healthcare space. And I viewed it as a mega problem. I remember in 2017, I wrote a blog post for the American Academy of Family Physicians, and I said, the lack of evidence-based physicians online is going to create a world of a difference.
What will happen right? There. What will happen here? You see that?
Profit in this healthcare space, and I viewed it as a mega problem. I remember in 2017, I wrote a blog post for the American Academy of Family Physicians, and I said, the lack of evidence-based physicians online is going to create a world of a difference in our patients' lives. It's going to allow misinformation to come in, especially in this section I call the gray zone, where modern science doesn't yet have an answer to certain medical problems, to certain medical conditions. And they're going to come in and promise you solutions, and they're going to be quite successful at it. What happened 3 years later? COVID-19 pandemic, misinformation pandemic, people confused,
Progression again. Right.
not knowing
Yep.
who to seek out for information. And for some very strange reason, a doctor with only 5 years of experience after a residency was the #1 channel on YouTube being watched and giving the answers when people were not watching the CDC. They weren't listening to true experts. Instead, they were falling for misinformation online. And I had to be there to set the record straight. I couldn't believe that that happened.
For people that might not know,
Very FE for FE.
Yep.
Yeah, right. Yeah. This guy reminds me of a better looking Frank James. Just saying. This guy does remind me of a better looking Frank James.
who you're referring to when you cite that doctor, that is you. You reach a lot of people every month. You have 12 million subscribers on YouTube now. You have other channels with millions of people following you across the board. And that's happened in quite a short space of time. What is it about you that you think has been so resonant with so many people as it relates to sort of medical information and spotting disinformation?
I think it's not one thing. Much like in healthcare, this would be a multifactorial situation. I think when I first started, the reason why I got popularity was because I was an early adopter of Instagram, and I would share my medical journey of being a med student, mostly
Progression.
because I wanted to show people that you can have a life, a social life, a family life, a sports life, and still go through medical school. Because
That's SE and I want to show them.
Yeah.
felt like there existed this stigma. You have to give up everything to study medicine. And while I was doing that, I got some followers on Instagram. And at that point, having 10,000 followers was a huge win because it was so new. And being a broke medical student, to go to a club and say, oh my God, I have 10,000 followers, let me in without paying the admission, that was a win. Then fast forward just a couple.
Interest.
It's so funny. Everybody use that little TE shit sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Couple of years later, I'm in my residency program. BuzzFeed writes an article, and they didn't write an article about me being the youngest doctor in my hospital. They didn't write an article about the fact that I did some medical research. They didn't write about the fact that I was passionate about putting out accurate info. The title of the article was, you got to check out this sexy doctor and his awesome dog. And I'm like, oh, well, that's silly. No one's going to read this. I thought it was cute. I'd send it to some friends. And then boom, that was the moment everyone was going viral. And it seemed like every outlet in the world was reaching out. And when I say in the world, I'm not exaggerating. Like outlets from the UK, from Budapest, from Asia, from every possible outlet here in the United States was calling for an interview. And I very vividly remember all the talk show hosts were reaching out. And I had no idea about this world, that there existed so much competition, where I remember the Ellen DeGeneres show folks reached out and they said, if you do our show, you can't do the Steve Harvey show. And Steve Harvey reached out and said, if you do our show, you can't do their show. I talked to some friends. I'm like, all right, I'll do the Ellen DeGeneres show. I think that would be a cool opportunity. And they do the pre-interviews. I meet with the producers. I tell them about what I'm passionate about. And the day before filming,
I tell them what I'm passionate about, and I
Yeah.
tell them what I'm passionate about.
they call and they say, hey, we have some news. Hillary Clinton is announcing her bid for the presidency of the United States, and she's doing our daytime talk show as the first talk show. And like the other guests were like Pink and Jimmy Kimmel. So you're the one getting kicked off. And I said, no biggie, I'll go on Steve Harvey. So I called Steve Harvey's people back and they said, oh no, that was 2 weeks ago. We're not interested anymore. And it was such a wake-up call where the 15 minutes of fame statement was true. You were hot for a second. People were interested about this unique story, and then they move on. But I said, no way. I still have to push this because I viewed it as an opportunity to get people to care about the information. But
FE
That's SE, FE.
and interest. Get
Yeah, definitely. SC there, right? I seen it as
Yep.
an opportunity, right?
Yep.
He's complaining that he missed his his 15 minutes of fame. SC infuriated ass.
drawing their
Yeah.
attention to something else first. If you look at who's successful in media 20 years ago in the healthcare space, it would be, unfortunately,
Kind
people
of reminds me of Tim Tebow too, a different version of Tim Tebow, like a
Yeah.
slimmer, more like not masculine version of Tim Tebow. That's what he reminds me of too. Fucking INFJs.
who corrupted the health information for the viewership. And it feels like you oftentimes have to corrupt something to get views. And I felt that if I could corrupt and have people come for the scandal of sexy doctor, but when they come for that, I instead give them some accurate information, or maybe have them come for some comedy and give
Interest.
Interest. This
them
guy.
some health information. That was a way to
Hey,
get
hey, I
people
tell everybody, man, use what you got. Use what the fuck you got. I was telling I think it was some INTJ girl. She was like, "Well, I don't want to bag on my looks." I said, "10 years from now, you're gonna be the dumbest motherfucker on the planet. You gonna wish you had did it. Like, use what the fuck you got."
Yeah.
interested. Because if we're being honest, healthcare information, textbooks, science, it can be boring if you're not passionate about it. But if you can
If
present
you're not
And
passionate about it, NI. All right, let's go ahead and kill NISE. Right?
geez, he hammered that down.
Yeah, right. That's kind of cool. That's cool.
And progression.
Yeah,
There's no.
yeah, I feel good about that. SENI progression, guys.
Yeah. And he's pretty direct. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
There's no. It's not. He's not informing. There's
So
no way.
this is the best metrics that we got so far is progression. Everything he says is linked to the journey of everything, right? He's just taking you through his journey. These two are the best that we've seen. And as you've seen, the way I type is I want to make sure that I get the things that come out the most first, right? And then I go from there. Because that's how you're gonna be as accurate as possible. So yeah, and then direct here, right? We kind of know once we start seeing interest, we're seeing process, we're seeing that, we know he's INFJ, right? Plus, we kind of got some help. We know Frank James kind of looks like him, Tim Tebow. So with direct process, SENI, that basically just makes you a finisher. That's not an ISTJ. Um, I'm gonna start calling it the Frank James clan. The Frank James clan. We got the Thomas clan. People that look like Thomas, I call it the Thomas clan. Like, bro, if you look like Thomas, bro, you cook. Don't even ask me for a typing session.
it in a way, like some of the amazing teachers that I've had over the years, in a way where it's fun, it's engaging. They make it almost like a journey that you're going on. Suddenly you pay
Journey.
Progression.
attention. You have a few takeaways. And then from those takeaways, you're better equipped to handle some of the things that can come up with it during life. And I really took
SE.
that to heart in the beginning. And over the last
FE.
5 years, have really studied what marketers have done so well in the commercial space, or what those
SE.
SE. I studied
I
what
studied.
other people were doing.
Yeah.
snake oil salesmen have done so well in pitching their misinformation, and take those same principles, but bring them to evidence-based
TI.
medicine. Allow people to have fun while they're learning.
There's a lot of information out there as it relates to health. What is your sort of framework for deciding what you share and how you share it? When there's a lot of these studies as well, the methodology of the studies is often hard to trust because of the way that they're, certain studies where they look at they don't isolate one variable. So you look at the study and it could be anything.
Oh, guys at home, what function is that? You guys know we've typed him, so you guys should know what he's saying here. T critic, man. T fucking critic, man. There you go, easing us right into TE fucking critic land.
They're learning.
There's a lot of information out there as it relates to health. What is your sort of framework for deciding
What's your system?
what you share and how you share it? When there's a lot of these studies as well, the methodology of the studies is often hard to trust because of the way that they're, certain studies where they look at they don't isolate one variable. So you look at the study and it could be anything. They say, you hear these studies about like veganism, for example, where they say vegan.
This has got to be where Trump and what's his little what's his guy? What's the other guy?
Robert F.
Yeah,
RFK
that's what
Jr.
they don't understand, bro. Like you got to have like multiple studies. You got to look at multiple ones to make sure because
Better to have
unless you're like looking in the
it's better to have meta-analysis.
unless you're like going in and reading the methods, which is very important when you're reading peer-reviewed data. Methods. How did they get to these conclusions? What did they use? What were the variables? If you're not looking at that and you just read the abstract, dumbass, cooked.
Yeah, is healthier, but that doesn't remove out all the other factors in that person's lifestyle. Maybe they're eating less meat, but it's processed meat that they're having with fries and hamburgers, etc. Yep. So what's your framework for deciding if something is true in a sea of information?
Every time I look at some new research, I treat it differently than most people would in the media space. And I also treat it differently than an individual would treat it. So if you're a news outlet and a breakthrough study comes out, they treat it like it's the answer to people's problems, like it's the new and best. I take that research and I apply it to the existing data and knowledge that I've gotten over the years through my medical education and position it in where it belongs. So some research comes out, it might make me lean in saying we need to move closer to a plant-focused diet. It doesn't mean that everyone needs to be on it. It doesn't mean we need to eliminate everything, because in medicine, extremes are rarely right. Mm-hmm. Even when we're talking about optimization, you'll hear oftentimes people say, oh, you can boost your immune system. You could hyper-optimize this. No. Hyper-optimization is extreme. Whenever you're going into those extremes, you start creating problems, because that's how the human body works. Mm-hmm. It works in homeostasis. It wants to be balanced. And the enemy of balance is bad, but also perfect.
So what do you make of this optimization, longevity, anti-aging, live forever culture that's emerged in the last couple of years?
I understand where it's coming from. We've made a lot of scientific progress. We believe that we should have the answers to the one problem that is facing all of us. And that's that life is not forever. Mm-hmm. But I feel like the field has been corrupted. And it's actually the way that healthcare has been corrupted across the board. So when we talk about health insurance, the pharma industry, anti-aging industry, a lot of it has been corrupted with capitalism. And I say that as someone who's actually pro-capitalism. But I believe healthcare is a commodity that cannot be Uberized. I love Uber. I love Lyft. I love the idea of being able to call something on demand. Doesn't quite work for healthcare. You demanding what you want for your body when you're not the expert doesn't always yield the best results. We've seen that time and time again. I see it with my patients when they come in and it's very clear that they have a viral illness, but they demand antibiotics, or they demand a medication that's going to help them live longer. Doesn't exist. We don't have yet the evidence to sell these things to people, to explain them to people. But there will always be a person who will take some new information, some preliminary data from an animal model, from a petri dish, and sell it as the next great thing. This happened with the Fountain of Youth. This happened with literally snake oil hundreds of years ago, and now it's happening, but with the power of social media and the fact that this misinformation a lot of times is insidious. You don't realize that it's so bad and so problematic. Because what it's doing is it's actually
like the fucking, what is it, the alkaline water? I just laugh so hard. Like, bro, like you stupid motherfucker. You stupid motherfucker.
Actually tricking people into not understanding how science works. How when we put out a hypothesis, an idea of what we think could happen, we actually strive to disprove our hypothesis. So if I say this glass of water here will help you live longer, I will actually, as a scientist, want to set out to prove that it doesn't. And I will think of every way, and I would bring on.
I think that's what a lot of people get wrong about science. Science basically can't tell you what is actually true. What it does is tells you what's actually false, right? And there's always trying to move towards getting more accurate as it goes. But Mainly, it just tells you what's actually false, right? It can't tell you exactly what's true because there's new things that come out and that might get scrapped. That happens literally all the time, literally all the time. But yeah, it will tell you what's false though. I think a lot of people fucking miss that. I don't know why. It's crazy.
people
It
to
narrows it
disagree
down.
with me and
Yeah, it just basically just cleans out the stuff that they know is not correct, right?
Separates the wheat from the chaff
Right, and it's just like getting
that
more
we know
narrow.
of.
It's getting more narrow. Science is getting more narrow as we advance in our technology and
Yeah, it
everything is we do.
grows more myopic, and then from there it optimizes
Yeah, yeah. But
in the future. But yeah, exactly like what he's saying. And then you build principles off of that into the future.
yeah, you try. But you also got to always remember that things will get scrapped with science. We get new tools to be able to
Yeah,
do different levels, see a different degree of things from a different
science
evidence
is
or whatever, and then boom, that gets scrapped and something else gets put in place. But it's always telling you what's not true, is what I
science is ever changing. It's in people. It's not dogmatic, and people assume that science is useless or its utility is diminished because it doesn't have answers. And it's like, no, it's because science is evolving. It's a process. And over time, we gather more information or get new information. We will change our assumptions
yeah,
about said thing.
yeah. And I think a lot of times people have this belief that like maybe like that one person that changes science, like that could be them. Most of the time, dude, we're not really changing much that happens in the scientific community. It's very rare that you get like some Einstein who changes things or something, or it's rare that you get that person. Maybe
Yeah, but nowadays it's funded by like research is funded by governments into these institutions, and they're large and they're studied and they're scrutinized through these large symposiums. It's much more difficult. You don't have all these lone wolf geniuses running
yeah,
around.
yeah. But you got everybody thinks that they're the next guy. The Terrence Howard,
Yeah,
the Terrence Howard.
it's bad.
It's like, bro, cut it out, man. That's
It's
why
it
I don't care what
it's
anyone
T
says. It's
it's T critic squared, really.
But I'll just be honest, man. That's the thing about like TE. I think when you put more heads together, you're usually gonna get a better result. I don't care if it's FE or fucking TE. Like it just is what it is. Like you may be that lone person once in a while to do something and change something or bring something, but most people aren't gonna do that. This is the reality of it. And then you'll get these FI DOMs who will try to create their values their whole life and then come to the same principle as the Bibles, very close to it. And it's like, okay, dude, when you could have just took the FE. But
Yeah.
hey, guys, I'm just saying that.
find ways that we could test that this doesn't work. But right now on social media, what you see is a lot of people just supporting what agrees with them.
What are some of those ideas that have proliferated across social media that irritate you the most and you think are most harmful?
I think the ones that create certainty in an uncertain world. And I think that could apply to pretty much any field. I talked about the gray zone earlier, and I think the gray zone has changed. 30 years ago, the gray zone was weight loss.
Yeah.
And if you put on any TV channel, especially late at night, there would be a fat burner, there'd be some grapefruit diet or some next great thing that someone came up with. But everyone forgets about all that. People used to sell you nonsense to try and help you lose weight. And all of it didn't work. It was not healthy. Even if it made you lose weight, it was in an unhealthy
You know
way.
who does very well operating in the gray area? Zar, you know who does very well operating in the gray area? Any DOMs. Any DOMs do very well operating in the gray area. They'll
Yeah.
sell you that shit. They'll sell you that shit, this shit. They can get you in the gray area. They got you cooked.
It
Yeah,
ended up creating and fueling this.
Hmm?
they always purport that everything is a gray is a shade of gray.
Mhm.
It's annoying.
Yeah,
Um,
if they get you in the gray, you're cooked. I'm just letting
yeah.
you know you're
Oh,
cooked.
well, if you look at it from this perspective, if you look at it from all these other perspectives, then you realize life is a shade of gray. It's
Yeah.
an
And catch you in the gray, you're cooked.
almost eating
well,
disorder like cycle for most folks. And then came out some medications like Ozempic. And people started actually losing weight with an FDA approved medicine that had real results. Now you
Probably got a lot of consequences from that too. I heard, we'll be seeing that in the next 5 to 10 years, all the problems that the people that got on Ozempic got. But I think you got to look at, costs and balance it out. Like, okay, I'm fat as fuck. I'm gonna die from being fat as fuck. Okay.
every there's trade-offs to everything in life. It's
Yeah,
just what
so
you're
so
willing to accept.
so it's like, okay, let me get those Ozempic, and then I won't die from being a fat motherfucker. So I mean, if you're looking at it from that case, then I say get those Ozempic. But if you're like a moderately chubby person that could probably just go to the gym and you take Ozempic, probably not a smart move. Probably not a smart move. I think you probably could have did the work and went to the gym and not had to worry about maybe the potential problems you got in the future from Ozempic. That's just
Yeah.
heads up, man.
see less of those fat burner ads, but you see more of a new gray zone, anti-aging. Science doesn't have an answer to stop us from aging. We don't have the answers perfectly to our genetic code. But boy, there will be a genetic test for sale that will tell you exactly what you need to avoid. But the reality is, we just don't know. And it's not sexy to say, I don't know. But I've been passionate about encouraging folks to celebrate those experts who come in and say, here's what we don't know, but here's how we're working to get to those answers. Because that's what gets me excited.
Process.
There's so many breakthroughs being made in medicine.
And people don't realize that again, like science is very slow. It's a slow process.
Yeah,
It's a very slow
it
process.
is.
And that's the reason why COVID like just exposed, people in general because people want things now, but science don't work like that. So and when things don't work in like that, you just gotta just do whatever the fuck you can. Right? Science takes years. It takes years. But if you want to just pull some shit out of your ass, I guarantee you, in the coming years, when the science does come out, you're gonna look crazy, which is what
Science
most
doesn't
people are
evolve
doing.
at the rate of your reels on your Instagram feed.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a long ass time, man. It takes a long ass.
Doesn't just emerge out of nowhere. Yeah.
It
I
takes
don't.
years, dude. It takes years, 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 and years, dude. I mean, and just the COVID is
I
just a
don't.
big part of life now, man. COVID, flu, RSV, like bro, just and rhino, just know that anytime during the year you could get killed, with one of them motherfuckers. If you're old, I feel so bad now because like I work at the hospital and I mean it's like either rhino, COVID, flu, RSV, you just name it, they just keep coming
Yeah,
one after another.
you see these elderly people so terrified. Like the other day, going down the road, you see this old lady with a mask on in her car, and I'm like, she's petrified.
She better be.
Yeah, she's petrified. Like, yeah, a lot of people are like that now.
Like,
It's sad.
they should
But
have beat your ass, man. Shit
yeah, I
was.
know.
I was sick as hell yesterday. I feel a lot
But
better today. Whew.
yeah,
Yeah.
And we don't talk about those honest breakthroughs because they're not always exciting. But if we could pair it with something cultural, if we could pair it with some comedy, with some fun, I think we can get in front of a lot of eyes.
Compare it with some FE.
One of the first things you said there was about
All right,
weight loss.
we're done. Me and Zara are done with
yeah,
this, man. We're gonna go to
yeah.
Mike INFJ, guys. So he got his own type wrong, which is
No, yeah, he did. But he said, but later in when he read the analysis, and he said, "This isn't me."
oh he did.
Yeah, he said he disagreed with the result, and he thinks MBTI is a bunch of horse shit.
Oh well, yeah, yeah. I mean, when he didn't get his type right, I mean, obviously.
Well, yeah, INFJ is definitely him
I think shit. I think yeah, I mean
because like sensing to in the colloquial sense is like knowing facts and data ac- according to like some papers, and it's pretty bad.
also like being a doctor does kind of
Make you
make
more
yeah. It's gonna
look
make
at
you more.
specifics.
Yeah, it's gonna make you more like that. Make you way more into data and stuff like that. So yeah, guys, we got him INFJ. He got his type wrong. But hey, most people do.
Well, I mean, it was on a test. It's on those crappy tests.
But if I had to say I mean, I think he's INFJ. I think he does have some type of developed self that might be more initiating or better at initiating.
Yeah,
So I mean, I can see why the test came out ESFJ. I would say
he
that
thinks he's an extrovert.
yeah, I think that he has a developed stuff that comes out like an ENFJ, right? But he's actually an INFJ. Guys, we do have a video breaking down like the developed self, the core self. Core self is your type. Developed self is like basically what bleeds into you over time, and that's who you are today, right? So like your core will bleed into you over time, and then your environment, which is the contextual, will also bleed into you, and then that will become the developed self, right? Um,
It all synthesizes into who
so
you are.
yeah, but yeah, over here we find the core self, which is
But yeah,
like your type code. So yeah, what are we thinking for Enneagram here? 2W3,
yeah,
2W3, SO, definitely SO, SP,
SP
yeah. Subtype, what we thinking N squared?
N squared,
Yeah,
without a doubt.
without a doubt. He's brainiac over there. And you know what's great to see that he was so into literature and things of that nature, which I was talking to John Bodine and I was telling him I don't think it's hard for an INFJ to learn about TE from the perspective of data. I think they have a problem with enforcing with TE, the enforcement of TE, right? Of the
Yes.
procedures and protocols and like, maybe you might have to strangle a couple people with the system. I think that is where they're not good at, okay? Creating outward systems and that type of thing. I don't think it's read. I think anybody can read, right? I don't think, that type of thing, but um, I do see that INFJ struggle with the TE perspective of enforcing methodologies, procedures, like getting people on the same page and being effective and efficient. When they're trying to get things done, it's more about like making people feel special and making people feel heard. I'm just like, fuck it, get the shit done. Okay. This guy's above average.
I would have put him prodigy.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, you're right.
Prodigy, without a doubt. Stop it.
You know
Stop
what?
it.
I always say that, man. One thing about them fucking INFJs, they don't bullshit, boy. They do some of the most like I don't know, man. I'm like, man, is Buddha INFJ? Jesus INFJ? What's going on, man? This shit might be heads towards these motherfuckers. Some people say Buddha's not an INFJ, say he's INTJ. I'm like, man, these religious people, I just seem to always think they're INFJs. Okay, I'd have to look at the literature on it, but I would probably lean that the guy's probably INFJ.
Hmm.
That's just
Yeah, yeah, without a doubt, he's prodigy. He is exceptional with his TE.
yeah.
Okay,
I
he's
mean,
God
yeah,
tier.
yeah, yeah. He is exceptional. I would agree on that.
Yeah,
Medical
there's
schools don't
without a
understand
doubt,
without a
without a
doubt.
doubt.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, he understands science quite well. That N square is helping him there. Brainiac. But yeah, Dr. Mike, I enjoyed this typing. We got another INFJ. Building our INFJ roster, guys. We call it what we called him? The Frank James clan. Kind of look
Yeah,
like Frank James a little bit. Tim Tebow. We got to get Tim Tebow on the channel at one point. Uh,
yeah.
but yeah, guys, this was a fun one. Me and Zar catch you guys on the next one. Peace.